Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Off-Farm Income Podcast. Hey, thank you so much for joining us here again on our YouTube channel. This is episode number 925, and hey, we have got a great interview for you today. Another American Star Finalist coming on the show today. Hannah York, coming out of Murray State University. She was an American Star Finalist in agribusiness and working in the nursery industry. Very, very interesting interview. A wonderful young lady, and you're very much going to enjoy getting to know her. We're going to jump into that for you right now. Hannah, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming back on the Off-Farm Income Podcast.
Thank you. It's nice to be here again.
You bet. Well, I was very excited to see your name. So we last spoke, this is episode number 925. You and I spoke on episode number 410 back on Valentine's Day, 2018, February 14th, 2018.
Yes, I think I do remember that. That was after I won the proficiency at nationals, right?
I believe so. And now here you are, and you're back, and you are an American Star Finalist in agribusiness, and that is very, very exciting for me, considering you've already been on the show once. I'm very proud of what you've done. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Man, that is exciting. So I was looking back on the previous post and reflecting on our interview, and you had a really innovative business. You were doing like autumn type decorations and things like that for hospitals and different businesses around your community, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Fascinating. Okay, so that was all the way back in 2018. Here we are. We're 2 years later, actually about 2.5 years later. So is it still the same business that you've been operating for your SAE, or has it changed at all? How does it look today?
Okay, so I still do the fall decorations, but since 2018, I have definitely diversified a lot more because I will be graduating from Murray State University in November. So I'm planning to come back and just work with my business. So since 2018, I have expanded and I've done more fall decorations and things like that. I actually just finished the season about 4 days ago for that, and I did 38 displays this year. And that might be less than what I've done in the past, but they keep growing in size. Like each display grows in size, so it's not just 2 small ones here. We've got like 5 big ones. And things like that. So my budgets are increasing, which is really good. I implement several farm wagons in a few of mine. So besides that, I have started landscaping for homes and businesses, whether it be cleaning up flower beds or even designing and implementing new ones. So I create blueprints and choose all the plants. And if they don't have a preference, then I kind of give them a list of like, this is some of the best options for your soil, the sunlight you have, and honestly, is the person that I'm landscaping for going to take care of their plants? Are they going to water it? Are they going to fertilize it? Are they going to trim them back, or do they just want something and they're just going to let it go? So that's another reason that I just give them a list of things to look at. Besides the landscaping, I have got a greenhouse that was in June of 2019. So I've had that a full year and a few months. So in the greenhouse, I have your normal like summer vegetables. Like I have squash and tomatoes and peppers, eggplant, things like that. I've grown pumpkins in it, things like that, gourds. I started strawberries last year, and I did 400 strawberry plants last year. This year, I've increased to 750 strawberry plants, and those actually, I got all those in the ground yesterday. So greenhouse is taking up a lot of my time. I love it. I think it's so much fun. I'm actually not in Murray this week. I'm doing all my classes online because I had so much work that needed to be done in the greenhouse. So I just stayed home this week working at the farm. I work a little bit with floral design and floral arrangements. So I have sunflowers in the greenhouse right now. I've got about 4 rows of those, and those are starting to bloom, but they will keep blooming over the next about 4 weeks or so. So I'm doing sunflower bouquets. I've got roses, and I've got some daisies and palms and some greenery. Just making some fall colored fall bouquets, and those are marketed through my business page, as well as there's a few businesses in my hometown, and they have them for sale as their storefront, that kind of thing. So busy all the time.
You are busy, my goodness. Give us the name of your business again.
Whenever we spoke in 2018, the name of my business was Arrangements by Hannah, but now I have diversified to where I'm more than just those arrangements. So the new name is Arrowhead Acres Nursery. And that is because a lot of people are like, why don't you use your last name or something like that? But our farm used to be a dairy farm several years ago. My dad worked at the dairy farm. My grandparents, my great grandparents, they all did dairy at the farm, and the name was Arrowhead Acres. So I'm not doing dairy, so it's Arrowhead Acres Nursery.
All right, so there's a little bit of family tradition built into that name.
Yes.
Very cool. Man, you've grown a lot since the last time we spoke, and I was blown away with your business when we talked back in 2018. So obviously, I think we're kind of getting, I normally ask, what have you done to make yourself stand out, to rise to the level where you're one of the 4 nominees for an American Star in Agribusiness? I think you kind of just answered that. This business has really grown. That's exciting.
It has grown a lot. I would say my business is definitely unique. There's not a lot of people who do the fall decorations. And if I speak to someone at school, or I've had a few interviews with for some articles and things like that, and they're like, wow, I've never thought of anyone doing anything like that. So I would say it's a niche market, and it's something that's very unique that not a lot of people think about, because whenever I first started, it was like, I love fall. Lots of people love fall, but they lack the time to decorate for fall. And so that's where I came in, and I did the decorating for them. All they need to do is water their mums, and then I take it down for them, and then time to move right on into Christmas. So I think that definitely sets me apart from others, because my business is so unique. Not a lot of people do that, at least no one that I know in the state of Kentucky.
Wow. Okay, now what will your degree be in from Murray State?
I will be graduating with my bachelor's agribusiness with an emphasis in entrepreneurship and horticulture. So I'm bringing in a lot of business principles, a lot of entrepreneurship principles. So I've learned a lot about the finance side and that kind of thing. But also, since I have the greenhouse and I'm doing the landscaping, then that brings in the horticulture side. So I'm getting both sides of it.
Wow. And then you're returning to run your business and grow it full time? Do I understand that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
That is great. So you are set on being an entrepreneur, working for yourself, having that independence.
Yes, 100%.
That's exciting. Okay, tell us why.
Well, I'm sure that you've heard that if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. And I think that is definitely very true for me. I love what I do. I'm graduating in less than 2 months now, and I've stayed at home this week and worked, and I was like, wow, do I get to do this for the rest of my life? Like, I love working at the farm. I love being in the greenhouse. I love talking to customers. And I think that that's why. And I think that whenever you're an entrepreneur, you have to have confidence and drive, because it's a huge risk, because you don't know if you're going to make profit, and you don't know if this new venture is going to be successful. Like, I've been successful so far, but if I wanted to diversify again and do something else, then I'm like, I think it'll be successful, but what if other people don't come to me for that? What if they already have somebody that they go to for that part? So I think that it is full of risk, and I think that kind of drives me even more, because I want to overcome those risks, and I want to learn from it. And I have a lot of mentors. I've met several people at Murray State, a lot of my professors. We talk all the time, and I know that whenever I graduate, I could call them on the phone and be like, hey, I've got a question. And they're going to sit on the phone and talk to me until we figure it out, because if you have contacts, I think that's very, very helpful. And I definitely have lots of contacts to the university, and through my past internships and things like that. So I've got people for the business side of aspects that I have a business question, but also on the horticulture side or soil stuff, I have people from all different areas that I can call and seek advice from, because they've been there, they've done that, and they can help me out in that situation.
So going to college, taking these classes, meeting these people, meeting your professors, it hasn't just been about the education. It's also been a form of networking for you.
Yes. Our dean, his name is Dr. Tony Brannon, and he always says in every single email that he sends out, any lecture that he does, any talk, he always tells all of the students that we're going to school to get an education, not just a degree. And that is very true. We're at school to get a degree, but what else are we doing at school? We're going to these leadership conferences and we're learning and we're going and networking with students from across the United States as well as businesses across the United States, and we go to interviews for practice and career fairs and things like that. But Dr. Brandon drills that into every student in the ag department, that you're at school to get an education, not just a degree. And I think that I agree with that. I've done it for sure.
That is great. Good for you. Okay, so I want to ask you this question about starting off with a niche product, and that is you did begin with a niche, and that has now created a business that has grown, and it's opened you up and helped build a reputation and grow your business to where you can come back from college and you can run a larger business that still involves that niche, but then involves a bunch of more traditional type services. How important was finding that niche, and how old were you when you found it?
I started my business when I was a freshman in high school, so that would be 2014, and I want to say 14 years old, maybe 14 or 15, and that is where the niche started. And I think that finding that is definitely how I have the customer base that I have now, because a lot of these people, they started as fall displays, but now they're coming to me for bouquets, and they were coming to me for landscaping. They're coming to me for all their fresh vegetables and things like that. And I think whenever I started that niche, I got my name out there and I got a lot of contacts that way. And now they know Hannah knows what she's doing. I'm going to call Hannah and Hannah's going to take care of it. So definitely starting out as a fall displays got my name out there and my business name out there, and people are confident in my product and my services after they've seen that over the past 6 years, that they know to come to me. And then they also tell other people to come to me, because word of mouth is a huge thing. I think it's no matter what business you're in, word of mouth is important, because if you hear it from somebody that you trust, then I would go to that person.
Yeah, that's interesting. Word of mouth marketing, I think, is very important. And when you hear it from somebody you trust, like you're saying, and you realize that person has no ulterior motive in telling you that Hannah does a good job, I think it builds a lot of trust automatically. It's trust you don't have to build as the business owner, because they already know you've done a good job for somebody else. They've got no reason to embellish.
Exactly.
Yeah, very cool. Good for you. Well, this is really exciting. So has there been, what's the name of your FFA chapter again?
Caldwell County FFA.
Caldwell County FFA. Has there been an American Star Finalist from Caldwell County before?
I don't think so. And if it was way long time ago, but not anytime recently. I am the first one. My dad is an ag teacher at Caldwell County, and he's been there for 22 years. And there's not been one since he's been there, I know.
Wow. Okay. Is your dad the only FFA advisor there, or do you have more than one?
No, his co-worker, her name is Megan Woods.
Okay. Well,
she graduated from Caldwell, then went to Murray State, and then she came back to her home high school and started teaching. So okay. I think that that's very cool, and they have a strong bond, because my dad actually taught Megan in high school, and then she went to college and came back. So that's cool. They're close.
That's great. And what's your dad's name again?
Wes York.
Wes York. Okay. We always love to acknowledge our FFA advisors on here. So thank you for doing that. Okay, so you're coming back. You're going to be operating your business full time, and I mean, where's the limit on this? How big can this go?
Well, I guess the sky's the limit is the answer to that.
Yeah, I kind of think so too. I mean, you could take this in so many different directions. And do you have employees at this point?
I have high school age employees that are looking. My dad is the ag teacher, so he's very strong on his students should have an SAE and why they should have an SAE, because my SAE has now turned into a full-time career. So I'm kind of teaching a lot of his younger students about my business, about the horticulture industry and my side, just so they can get to see if they're interested in that kind of thing. So I have high school age students that help me out.
Okay. Now, I've got this question for you. You're fired up about this business. You discovered it through creating an SAE in high school when you were 14 years old. And now you're fired up, you're motivated, you're graduating college, and you went to college and did the exact right thing. You got additional information and networking that can help you to grow this business. So now you're returning. You've got this whole lifetime ahead of you to get up in the morning and pursue what it is that fires you up, what makes you excited. Do you realize how lucky you are compared to so many other people out in the rest of the world who get up in the morning and they have to go to a job they're not too pumped about?
I would say it's definitely sad. I mean, it goes back to what I said before. If you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. And my family has drilled that into me. I'm a very big family person, and we have several entrepreneurs in my family. And that's where I've, understood that I can make it as an entrepreneur. I can be successful owning my own business, because I have 4 people in my family that have done it. And I have the customer base, I have the support, I have the confidence, and I have the knowledge to do that. And I have several ideas that I want my business to go, the direction I'm wanting it to go. And I take steps towards that, every month to get there. And it's sad that they don't get to live their dream, but I'm very happy that I get to.
I'm happy for you. Have you ever had a quote unquote real job?
Besides working for my business, I have, but it's always been related. Whenever I work in it, it's got to be related to my business so I can learn. So I've worked at a few farm supply stores, and I work in the greenhouse department. So I deal with plants, and I'm usually the person in charge of sales. So that's related to my business. I've worked at the Murray State University Arboretum. So again, with greenhouses and landscaping. I've had an internship with the University of Kentucky in the Soil Science Research Division, and that was last summer. So I did a lot with row crops last summer, which is not my expertise because I'm more greenhouse side more than row crops. But I did learn a lot about soil, and I use that professor that I worked with a lot, and he helps me, take my soil samples. We get it sent off, and then we look at the soil samples really closely and figure out what does it need, what does it not need, that kind of thing. So super helpful with the greenhouse, because if you don't have the right soil and you don't have the right nutrients, then you're not going to grow a healthy crop. This past summer, I worked with Riverside Wholesale Florists. So it was not in greenhouse plants, but it was with the cut flowers. So I do bouquets, I do floral arrangements. So that was related. I currently help Dr. Christy Guffey at the graduate master's program at Murray State for the ag department. So if I did want to go back and get my master's, I could. I have that contact. I know a lot about this program. And working with this, it has gave me a lot more experience working on a computer, working in Excel and that kind of thing. So I've learned a lot more about technology. So I've had jobs of my business, but everything I've worked with, I can bring back to my business because it's all agriculture related, and it helps me. So I don't want to, if it comes to the point where I do need to have a job whenever I graduate, just to make sure that I can, sustain myself until my business gets to that point, then it's going to be something that I can learn from that I can bring back to my business. I've had a few job offers from some flower farms and things like that in the area, some flower shops. So I'm still learning even after I graduate, and I can bring that back to my business. So everything I've worked in has to do with something about the business.
Well, that's really interesting. So I think I heard you mentioned a lot of different jobs, but you mentioned, I think, just one internship. Is that right?
Two. I did
Okay.
the UK, University of Kentucky, the soil science, and then the one this past summer at Riverside Wholesale Florist, that was an internship. So I've had two.
Okay. So out of all those jobs, two of those were actual titled internships, but you sound to me like when you chose a job that you were very, very purposeful. So you treated every job like an internship, meaning you got something out of that job that you could bring back to your business. And you didn't just take any random job because you needed money. You were very, very specific about where you would work because you were getting more than just money from the job. You were getting experience and knowledge that you were going to be able to use in your own business. Am I right about that?
That is correct.
That's great. Man, well done, Hannah. So impressive. What's it going to mean to you, to your dad, to your entire FFA chapter in your community if you are named the National American Star winner?
Oh gosh, that's a hard question. They've told us kind of about how it's going to go and how we have to be on Zoom whenever they announce it so they get our first reaction. And to be honest, I don't know if I'd be able to speak because that'd be so crazy. I did mention my dad is the ag teacher, so I've grown up going to national conventions and going to camps and going to all these practices and things like that. And I can tell you that I remember sitting through national convention sessions and watching these interviews for the National Star Finalists, and I was like, "Hey, wouldn't it be awesome if I could be there one day? Like, I want to be on that stage with all these people and the lights, and I want people to see what I've done and that kind of thing." And now I'm at this point where I'm not going to be on the stage, but everyone is going to see my video and they're going to know my name and know what I've done. And that's really a dream come true because I would have never, ever pictured myself at this point. As a freshman in high school, I was very shy, very timid, didn't want to talk to anybody. And my dad's co-teacher, Miss Wood, she actually said the other day that she would have never expected this out of someone that was so shy, but I've grown so much. And it's crazy that I'm at this point. I'm proud because I've worked so hard to get here. But it would be amazing because I've had this dream since I was a little girl.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Hannah. Well, I am very excited for you. I'm always extra thrilled when somebody who's been on the show before reaches this level, and I couldn't be more proud. Hey, best of luck to you, and thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you to Hannah York for coming on the Off-Farm Income Podcast today. And hey, as always, enjoy your journey to the ultimate lifestyle business, agriculture.